Hey, and good Wednesday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you here on the Weather Nerds YouTube channel with the Weather Report. Hope you guys having a great morning out there. And we got a lot to get into for your update for today. But again, for those who are coming in after this update, if you appreciate this, if you help this little weather guy out, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that notification bell if you learn on future content. If you ever have a weather-related question or anything, leave a comment down below. It does help with that almighty algorithm out there. Anyway, we are dealing with some fairly decent active weather out there for this morning. We're kind of watching a couple things out there. We do have some thunderstorms here, kind of pretty decent line here, kind of coming in through Iowa and coming in through Illinois. So Chicago looks like they could probably see some rain delays and stuff here for today. We're going to have the scatter storms here across the southeast for today. That'll be happening, and the big news story today is going to continue to be the heat, and we're going to continue to deal with that. But we're going to be beating that back big time here over the next couple days going to the end of the week. So we got a lot to get into on that. Yesterday, our high temperature hot zone was Death Valley. That hit 115 yesterday, and up there in Park City, up there into Utah, that area up there, hit 26. That was our low. Those areas typically be the same about every day this time of year. But I promise you, as we go, later into the fall, that'll change up just a little bit. Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about our surface map. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I noticed that we were dealing with one of the satellite sites I typically use is down to this morning. The CONUS one I typically use is down, so I had to go find a backup here for this morning. But anyway, here's our frontal system. Here's what we're watching here for today. Seeing all the heavy rains here. We do have some flash flood watches in this area here, as very high water content with these storms as they're moving on through here. So we're going to continue to watch this as the cool air is going to be slowly pushing on southward here. It'll be swinging through the northeast first, so you guys will get a break here first. And then the southeast, you guys will get your break coming in as heading toward this upcoming weekend. So it's going to be kind of a slow, methodical transition here as we go on through here for today. Hey, G-Bro, I see you over there. So again, that's what we're looking at. We'll take a closer look here at the radar up here up near Chicago, so you can kind of see that line of showers and thunderstorms there kind of coming in. This looks a little bit. It's coming through Davenport right now. Pretty good outflow boundary kind of racing right through there. But you see the heavy rains coming on through Chicago, probably coming in there toward Midway Airport and O'Hare. Probably going to be looking at some delays here potentially with some of this rain. But it doesn't look all that bad. But we'll probably see more of this fire up here later today. We got a couple of little pockets of severe weather for today, marginal. And it wouldn't shock me if they get upgraded to a slight risk at some point today. But we'll see how it works out as this goes on. Again, this is moving up fairly slowly, so we're getting some decent rainfall amounts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rainfall real quick. We'll go and do that real quick. Let's take a look and see what we've seen with the rainfall totals on this. See how bad it's been here so far. So look at the storm totals here. Yeah, pretty decent up here into areas of Iowa. We'll back this up here. You can kind of see that. We'll switch back over to this one here. And some of the rainfall totals in here. Yeah, but 3 inches. There's 3 inches there. 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches, 2 inches. Looks like a lot of 2-inch totals in there. So really just dealing with some stormy weather here for this morning coming out of Iowa and into Illinois. And as a result of that, as you can see here on our national breakdown here on our maps, we're seeing those flood watches up in here. We're starting to trim away very slowly all these heat advisories. Still looking up here in the northeast as well. But we're going to be pushing this out, folks, and we're going to be trimming this away here over the next couple days. You're going to notice it very much so when I show you the models on the temperatures. It's definitely making its presence felt. Unusually strong cold front for this time of year. Really wouldn't call it a true fall air mass. Kind of a hybrid. Everybody thinks fall, they think a certain temperature regimen, and it's not quite what this is. But we're definitely going to be seeing some below normal temperatures briefly. It's not going to last that long, unfortunately. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at where we're expecting the active severe weather for today. Let's go look at that. We'll go check over here from our friends from the Storm Prediction Center. Again, we got 3 different zones we're kind of watching here. Obviously, up here through Maine, stretching back here toward Pennsylvania. That's that cold front moving on there. There's that little pocket of storms we were dealing with this morning here, coming through Iowa, Illinois, and coming into Indiana. And out here in the mountain areas as well, Montana, coming down here through Colorado, kind of coming out of the foothills of the Rockies. We got some storms there as well. So shouldn't be too big a deal. Tornado threat, not a problem today, but obviously those zones in here, the winds are going to be a bit of a problem. They're running about 5%. So we're talking gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour. Wyoming down toward Denver, Casper, Chicago's in this. South Bend, obviously Kansas City, and then along the eastern seaboard here, we're talking Augusta, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, all the major cities might see a few gusty winds with some of those storms coming in there. And the hail threat will be predominantly out here in the west and across Maine. So we got a little pocket up here in Maine, and then we got a little bit up here into Montana down toward Denver. But otherwise, that's what we're dealing with here for today. How about the next several days? Let's go ahead and take a look at your Thursday. Here's your Thursday pocket. And again, just a couple of very small pockets out here, run right here, down here near the mid-Atlantic and out here across Colorado. Just a couple of pockets there for your Thursday. And how about going into Friday? Let's take a look at Friday. Yeah, just a general thunderstorm threat here across most of the nation right now as we wrap up the week. Now let's go and take a look at the excessive rainfall. That is our heavy rainfall threats. A lot of green means you're going to get some isolated pockets of heavy rain. I'm more interested in, obviously, anything when I start seeing yellow. So we've got some down here into the Carolinas. So we're looking at a pocket here for today where we might see some isolated flooding. And the southeast will need to watch out for the days ahead. When I show you the rainfall totals coming up, you guys will appreciate why I'm a little concerned about the southeast coming up. So we're talking about Fayetteville, Charlotte, heading down toward Columbia. So a little pocket there of dealing with some flooding concerns there for today. Let's go take a look. Oh, you know what? I did it again. I did this yesterday. So here we go. Here's one. I did that yesterday. You think I would learn the mistake the first time? No, I'm a little slow sometimes. I apologize. I thought that was a little weird. Okay, here we go. Here, look at it again. Here's day one. We're talking about where we got the heavy rains coming right now out of the foothills. That's day one. Here's day two. Then we're going to the Great Lakes. That's right. Now we're looking right. Here we go. So we're talking about like a day of New York down to Washington. Again, there are areas of some heavy rains there. And then day three. This is what I was kind of hinting at. I was like, that didn't look right. And then there it was. That's why. This will be going into this upcoming week. I think this is going to linger, folks, not only for the end of the week on Friday. I'm also thinking going into next week because the frontal system is going to stall down across the southeast, and I think that's going to be a real trigger mechanism for some heavy rain, especially you folks across North Georgia. Again, when I show you the European model, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. So flooding will be a concern, especially going into next week across the southeast. All right, so let's talk about the tropics. Let's get into this here a little bit. Again, I saw a lot of stuff going on out there in social media yesterday, and I had to put a special graphic on my Facebook page in my North Georgia Majestic Weather just to tell folks to tap the brakes a little bit, okay? All right, so right now, next 7 days, still not showing anything out there, all right? And yesterday, the European was kicking out something, and guess what? It's gone today, as I was saying yesterday. Again, don't get all spun up on that stuff just yet. The reason why, this is the big picture here, kind of looking at it, there's a tremendous amount of dry air out there in the Atlantic right now. You can see that very well out there. Let me get my my pen up here so I can do this a little bit better here. Let's go into one. Let's see if I get this to work here. Nope, not there. Hold on one second. My pen's down, so I got to update my pen here real quick. So stand by with me for a second. There we go. And for some reason, I know what I'm doing. Duh. I had to add this in because the other satellite wasn't working. So again, we're talking about over in here. So you see all this dry air out here. So this is a tremendous amount of dry. This is Saharan dust and dry air out there, and it is just killing the crap out of these waves out here. So as long as that's staying out there like right now, that's going to continue to be a problem out there. So that's an issue. Now, with that being said, there is one area that I'm going to be watching very closely. Because, again, we got that frontal system that's coming down south, and it's going to stall across the southeast and off the southeast coast. So as a result, the European model is hinting at a potential development zone here going in toward the next 8 days. So, again, we're talking about off the Carolina coast in here. So we're talking about right in here. That's what we're looking at here for potential development. You notice out here in the tropics, it's not really showing much anything about it, but this is my concern right there. Again, what this means when you look at this means it looks at conditions, the probability of a tropical depression forming in this area over the next 18. So it kind of looks at the environment and seeing how things are going. So we'll be watching off the southeast coast, and even if something develops there, it's most likely going to head on out to sea. But we got to see how close, if something does develop near the coastline or not, like the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Something that we got to watch here going in for this upcoming week. So for right now, it's staying active out on the Pacific side, but the Atlantic side is looking pretty quiet here for the moment. And I'll add the Pacific stuff tomorrow. I should have done it today, but I didn't. I'll have that for you guys tomorrow. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the models. Let's go ahead and break this down here for you guys today. We'll be looking first at the short-term models. Let's switch on over to this real quick. Let me zero this out. All right, so we're looking at the NAM model going out for the next 60 hours. We're kind of looking at how everything here is progressing here with our storm system. Again, we're watching these storms here kind of coming through today. The big story is going to be up here in the northeast here as we go into Thursday. We'll increase in the rain, and this will be the initial cool down first. Again, this is unusually cool air that's going to be dropping down in the middle of the country by the time of Friday. By the time we get to Friday, almost half the country is looking at temperatures in the 70s on August the 1st. I mean, just unreal. I mean, just unreal we're going to do. So you guys here across the Midwest and into the Northeast, that's going to be where we're going to see a lot of activity. Now, the folks in the Southeast, you're going to see your rudimentary scattered showers and thunderstorms. That'll be kind of increasing here through there. I think this is underrepresented here on the NAM, but we're going to track this through. And as I take this all the way out to here at the end, let me stop this real quick here. Again, one thing I'm noticing, these are your height lines, and they're definitely dropping. So that's that cool air kind of coming in here across the area of the Great Lakes. So we definitely got some cool air coming on around in here. And this is going to punch into the northeast and eventually come in across the south as that frontal system sinks down to the south. So we're going to see that change take place here as we wrap up the work week. All right, now with the temperature thing, just what I'm talking about. Again, I'm going to keep this looping on through here. Let loop all the way through. This is the end of the week. Check out today. Here's today. Check out all that purple. That's your hot temperatures. We're beating it back, man. We are sitting there saying we are sinking this stuff down to the south. We are doing a big squeeze play on that extensive heat here. And notice as I get to the end of this, I stopped out on Friday afternoon. Look how much of the country here is sitting temperatures, basically in the 70s or below. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, it got a few low 80s up here, but even got some 60s up here into the northeast. I mean, this is unreal. 50s and 60s for highs up there in the New England area. We're still going to have some heat here across the southeast, obviously, a little bit. We're going to beat this back a little bit more. Even you guys in the Carolinas by Saturday should be cooling off here. But a tremendous amount of much cooler temperatures moving in here. Let me back this up. I want to back this up to this one day that, going into Friday morning. Look at these temperatures here. 49, 51, 54, 56. I mean, we got a lot of 50s in here. 50s up here into New York, up into Maine. So, I mean, when you start seeing green on a map on August the 1st, that's a telling tale there of just how much cooler that air is moving in here. All right, so now we're going to talk about this heavy rain. We got this heavy rain that's kind of moving through here through Iowa and into Indiana. So we got the flash flood watches up in here. So you see some of these heavy, this is kicking out 10 inches. I don't know if we're going to get that high, but I think 4 to 5 inches localized possibility into the zone here. So I noticed that big bullseye there. I don't know if it's going to be quite that high there across northern Illinois, but this is where the cluster of storms that's moving through that area right now for this morning. Pulling back out here across the southeast, you notice it kind of looks like the measles. That's because you're getting these scattered thunderstorms. They're going to be slow movers across the southeast, and anyone that kind of sits in any specific spot will drop a couple inches. One of my weather watchers here on the North Georgia Majestic Weather reported over 2 inches of rain just last night from a couple of storms last night. So that'll continue to be the tail here across the southeast, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, into the North Carolina mountains and stuff. I've also got some rains here, scattered here, expected across portions of Texas as well as into Kansas as well, Missouri again. So this, again, will take us right through Thursday. Let me take this all the way out to the end of this run here. Take this out to the end of this run, take it all the way out. Yeah, and then we're going to really kind of increase it here as that rain moves in here across the northeast. So the northeast needs to watch this as well as the storms move in here up to this Friday. So we're looking at some very heavy rainfall totals, up to 6 inches. So we might see some flooding possibilities across the eastern portions of Pennsylvania, going into Maryland, New Jersey. Again, getting into those urban centers, whenever you get those heavy rains, obviously a flooding potential is going to be there. So we're going to want to watch that here for the end of the week here as that storm system slowly but surely pushes off toward the east, all right? Now let's go ahead and talk about the big overall weather pattern again. I'm going to show this again. Remember yesterday when I was looping this through, we were trying to get something to develop down here in the Gulf. So we were talking about something trying to come up this way. And you're going to notice at the end of this run, we got nothing down there. Okay, that's what I was trying to warn everybody yesterday. Don't get all spun up because the European had something there that far out. It's going to change from day to day. Now, one thing I am seeing with this current pattern that we're in, it seems like we're continuing to get these little impulses coming down in the northeast. It briefly pulls away. We get a couple days of that, and then it reestablishes. Watch it here toward the end of the run again. We got another one coming on down in here again. So we're going to continue to see this kind of this troughiness here across the eastern third. It'll briefly warm up, maybe cool down once again. And then we still getting these little invasions coming out on the west coast as well. They briefly kind of come in, and it's kind of squeeze playing that high pressure where the hot weather is going to be across the country. So what I'm expecting here over the next couple of weeks is we'll see the thing kind of waffling back and forth. I don't know if we're going to get that heat dome reestablished like we had before. There seems to be a lot of little weaknesses and stuff in there as well. So I don't know if we're going to get quite as bad as what we had. But I think that's what we're going to see here over the next couple of weeks. All right, so let's look at your short-term forecast here. We're looking at the next 7 days here on the European models. I got this looping on through. Let me go ahead and stop this. Let's go ahead and take this on through up till Friday afternoon here. Hold on one second. And we'll take this up to Friday afternoon here. And you kind of see, so again, with the frontal system coming into the south, we've got scattered storms here across the mid-Atlantic coming into the southeast, obviously. Much better weather here across. I mean, Friday's going to be gorgeous here across Minnesota, Chicago, Omaha, Milwaukee, Detroit, St. Louis. I mean, just going to be really nice up here. Eventually coming through the northeast. I think Saturday will be a better day across the northeast here. Now, you folks across the southeast, like I said, this frontal system is going to stall here across the southeast. That's going to be a trigger mechanism, kind of squeezing the atmosphere and any kind of moisture. It's going to be kind of wet and rainy across the southeast over the next week. It really looks pretty wet with some high rainfall chances. But this big high pressure system across the Great Lakes, it's going to look really great here going into your Saturday. Let's go into your Sunday here, Sunday afternoon here. Sunday afternoon, again, the southeast looking very unsettled indeed. Northeast not bad. Looking good across the Great Lakes. Little storms here in the middle of the country. West Coast looking pretty good. So the weekend, not looking bad. I'm going to back this up to Saturday once again, Saturday afternoon. A little bit of rain here across portions of Idaho and into Montana. But really, a lot of the country looking pretty good for this upcoming weekend. So if you have any plans before the kids go back to school, some school districts have already started or will be starting. But really not looking bad. I know the beaches probably won't be that great across Florida, for example. Now let's go into next week, starting off the new work week. Let's go into your Monday afternoon. Again, the southeast still looking unsettled there. Got a weak system up here across the Canadian border coming to the U.S. The west stays pretty dry. And then going into your Tuesday afternoon, we'll stop there. Again, southeast, mid-Atlantic, continuing with that heavy rain chances down there. West coast looks quiet. A little disturbance across the Great Lakes. So that'll be heading into the northeast. And most of the west continues to stay dry. And we'll take this all the way out to the end, going into next week, Wednesday. Again, mid-Atlantic. Looks like the moisture starts to work back up to the north a little bit, getting into the mid-Atlantic. Southeast remains wet. Little frontal system coming into the northeast, and we're getting some storms out in the middle of the country. Looks like another storm system here off the west coast. You see it right there, coming into Washington State as we go into next week. All right, so let's talk about the rainfall totals. Again, my bullseye zone. We got the storms tracking. We're going to have the heavy rains here across, obviously, the northeast. We saw the NAM showing the high rainfall totals. But look at the southeast. As I just illustrated to you guys, the southeast and mid-Atlantic, we've got a lot of frontal system that's going to kind of hang out there. And it is, these are showing 5 inches plus rainfall totals over the next 7 days. It's potential that it could be higher than that just by the nature of these thunderstorms and the high water moisture content in the atmosphere. It could be potentially be higher than that. So you folks here across, I'd say, the mid-Atlantic down into the southeast, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, watch out for potential flooding going into next week. I think that's something to kind of keep in the back of your mind as we go through the next week because of that frontal system stalling in the area. And then obviously we got to keep a watchful eye out for potential tropical development off the coast there. All right, so that's what we're seeing into those zones. All right, so again, I want to show this because I love this so much. I mean, this is your Friday afternoon temperatures. Once again, you see it. This is on the European model here. So you see it, how much of that country there is just looking at the beautiful 70s out there. I mean, I'm using a Trumpism, the beautiful 70s. But anyway, so you can see that going on a Friday. Going into your Saturday afternoon, again, the Northeast looking great. I mean, looking at 76, 74. Still, we're doing a little squeeze play down. Still got the heat here in southern Alabama, but even North Georgia, 80 degrees. That's going to feel pretty good, comparatively speaking, there as we kind of squeezing back to the 90s here. Going into your Sunday afternoon, I mean, a lot of 70s here, a lot of rain, cooled air down here in the southeast, but we're squeezing back to the 90s, just basically South Florida, Texas, and the desert Southwest here. And like for heck, yesterday, I think yesterday was the first day Dallas actually cracked 100 degrees this year, which is really unusual. It took that long for them to get to that, but they finally hit that. We had a lot of 100 degrees. Even Atlanta yesterday hit 100 degrees. So this cool down coming is going to be real significant. Feel pretty good here for next week. Monday afternoon, again, still looking pretty. We're starting to warm things up. You're seeing a little more red on this map here, starting to get things to modify. But the intense heat, still the 90s, are still kind of kept at bay. Going into your Tuesday afternoon, again, still looking unsettled and wet here across the southeast. Northeast starts to warm back up. We're seeing middle 80s here, middle 80s across Chicago, out here toward Indiana. We're seeing the 80s start to come back here. We're starting to warm back up, but we got the weekend's going to look really nice with those 70s out there. And then by the time we get to next Wednesday, we'll stop Wednesday afternoon here, 2 o'clock, starting to see a little more purple, starting to build here. Unsettle on the East Coast because that rain threat is going to keep the temperatures down quite a bit and warming up across the Midwest, the northern plains. The Northwest not looking bad, though. Looking pretty good. A lot of 70s out here. And the internal areas of California start to heat up here a little bit as well. So that's what we're looking at right there. All right, so let's go ahead and, oh, we got a warning out. Let's go check on that real quick. I noticed we got a warning that just came out. Let's go check that out while I'm live for the moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And let me switch this off. Looks like that storm, that line of storms we were tracking, we got a warning along it. Yes, and we do. There it is right there, coming on into Illinois. Again, that's in that marginal risk zone. So 60-mile-per-hour wind, 1-inch hail. This is for central Hancock County. Let's go and pull that up real quick for you. Get on Radar Omega real quick. There we go. And there is our warning right there. As you can see right there, coming along that line. So again, you guys folks in Illinois, Peoria and Alberta, Chicago, and again, Decatur, again, with that line coming in, you can see some isolated severe possible for today, as we illustrated with that marginal outlook here. All right, and there's that. Oh, that's again Hancock, Illinois, and Lee, Iowa. That's under that severe thunderstorm warning right now. Again, I appreciate everybody checking out the channel here for today. I like the new format. I like being able to present the weather in this way. I can be a little more loose, a little more conversational. Cutting those other ones, and pasting them together and playing Mr. Broadcaster, not really my style. I prefer to do these live. They're a little more fun. And hopefully I get my chat program working again. I'm still playing around with it. And somebody told me that Chat Ninja might be able to come back. I'm hoping that's true because I really like that program. I like talking to you guys and getting y'all's updates. Now, remember, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. A big thumbs up out there for you folks out there who've given some donations. Had a few over the last few days. Grateful. Just know I put it right back into the channel, and we continue to grow. We're at 8,258. Hopefully, we'll get to 10,000 by the time we get to 1 October, our 2-year birthday here on the Weather Nerds channel. That'll be pretty cool to get to that. And but the only way we're going to get there is if something tropical starts to get going, because that's going to be our big opportunity to grow the channel at that time. All right, that's it for you guys. You guys take it easy. You can stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. You guys have a great, safe day. We'll talk to you later.